Hello everyone, welcome back to another haul vid. Before I carry on any further, if I sound a little bit bugged up, which that might well have come across as I said that, I should just point out if I do that or sound like that or sniff, it's just down to the fact that my hay fever's still playing up a little bit. But I'll keep going, try and sort of like muddle through and show you what I got the last couple of weeks. I did get out to a couple of boot fairs, not a huge amount about, to be honest. Plenty of boot fairs, but the actual stuff there, it's sort of thinning out a little bit at the minute. I did see a couple of other bits what I didn't pick up, mainly because it's either doubles of things I already got anyway, or they were just so badly junkers that it wasn't worth picking up. But I found a couple of nice little retro bits and some decent toys as well. So off the bat, I'll just show you a little recap from my last video. If you remember, I picked up this little guy who was the police car. I said I feel it's like a bit of a go-bot. Luke did, Action Jackman did put on there what he actually is. He'd found him and told me what he is. Offhand, I can't think what it is. I should have gone back and checked. So apologies to Luke on that one. But I just thought I'd show. I took him apart because I said this guy was like the fire engine I picked up a while back, and that had electrics. And I thought, well, I'll try and see if this guy's got electrics inside. Now, it doesn't have a removable battery cover. You have to actually unscrew the body. But I took it apart, and lo and behold, same mechanism with 3 small batteries and little LEDs and a little microphone part. A little speaker attached to it, and I was going to take the batteries out, replace them, put in some new, and I took them out and I noticed the contacts were a bit gungy, so I just give them a bit of a rub up, and I thought, well, I'll try the old batteries in. I'll just sort of like see if there is any life. And lo and behold, even though this thing's from 1992, I believe it was, the same batteries are still working. So if you press the light on top of what was the police car, so you get a little siren sound and working lights still from the same batteries that it's always had since it was new. So I find that quite amazing. Batteries hadn't actually gone bad, if you know what I mean, where they leak. It was only just sort of just dirty contacts. So quite amazed at that. Really pleased that it's still working. But getting to my latest bits, what I picked up this week. Well, first of all, I picked up non-transformery bits. Only a couple really. First one was an Action Force figure of the old Black Major. I do have this figure in a little bit better condition, but I might still keep this guy just as a bit of an army builder, just to go as enemies to the normal Action Force figures, the good guys. And I also picked up, now this was I was quite lucky to get this guy. I was looking through a box and there was a lot of some of the older Action Man stuff. To be fair, it was quite sort of some of these sort of 70s sort of stuff, and I toyed with the idea of picking it up, but something in amongst it actually grabbed my attention, and it was something. If I show you what I picked up first, and I'll show you what I've originally got myself, and it's weird because I'd been looking at it sort of like only a couple of days beforehand. But from out of this box, I actually managed to find Hannibal from the 18, and even the M16, what he sort of would have come with. There was no other accessories. I'm not sure what Hannibal came with. Now, there was a battered Mr. T with it, but there was the other M16 for Mr. T as well. And strangely enough, I've already got Mr. T, but I'm not sure where his M16s ended up. So he ended up getting his gun back. And of course I got Hannibal, so now if I keep my eyes out, you never know, I might find Face and Murdoch, and then I could have the 4 as a set. I'll up on my shelves. Now, apart from a little bit of loose knee joints, which, you know, all our knees go as we get older, he's in pretty good nick. A little bit of paint wear on his hair, but, you know, he's quite old. He'd sort of be losing his hair by now. If unfortunately he was, you know, wasn't dead. But this is from 1983, so I'm really quite pleased to have found that. Other than that, like I say, pretty tidy sort of figure, so he can go on display with Mr. T once I finally get the room sorted out, if I ever get it sorted out. So yeah, I was really pleased with that, but as I say, there was in amongst some Action Man bits, and I was sort of umming and ahhing, but I was mainly looking at the Hannibal figure, and then another guy came along, and he just said to him straight up, "Oh, how much for the Action Man stuff?" And she sold it straight away, even though I was still sort of like looking at bits there. It was like picked up and gone. So I was lucky that I already picked up those bits out of the box. I mean, the Action Force figure came out of there as well, but there was no other obvious bits. It was, you know, it pretty much looked like just Action Man stuff. So yeah, I was dead lucky to get them, because less than sort of like 30 seconds later I wouldn't have got them at all. So really pleased with that. I think they cost me something like about 50p for the two, which is quite ridiculous, but obviously somebody's having a cloth clear out, they don't really care. But yeah, so they're the only non-transforming bits. The rest of the stuff is actually properly involved with Transformers. Now, as for parts, I found another one of the Cybertron keys, although it's not technically from the Cybertron line. I believe this one is for, the name's gone straight out of my head, but it's the black truck from the sort of movie, I'm trying to think what size class he'd be, sort of scout sort of class. Black truck with like yellow bits on it. Quite a nice little figure, and there's a little bit of story. I got the key, the figure was there as well, and it is a figure I want to get, and I was really cheesed off about it, to be honest. No arms on the figure. Searched through a couple of suitcases they had open of all different bits of toys and stuff. Where I found him, I thought, oh great, I'll search through, see if I can find the other bits. Found the key. Nah. So I thought, well, it's not worth picking up the figure, because the likelihood is quite unusual to find. I think I've only ever seen him broken again before, and again I think it's usually the back part of the truck, like the rear wheels, what form his arms in robot mode were missing, and it's like, oh really? So although I've got the key, I thought the key's worth picking up, because that could be lost if I do come across another one. Yeah, it's a bit miffed about that one, because that's a shame, because when you see a figure you do actually want and it's not complete, if it's a little tiny bit missing and it doesn't affect it actually in either mode, I don't care so much. I might still pick that up, but yeah, I don't really want to get Armour Hide, that's the one I'm thinking of. I don't really want to get him in sort of loads of bits. I think I'll struggle to find him in just buying parts. But his front grille one, that was missing as well. There's other little bits missing as well. But in amongst the box I did find, I think from like the titanium line, as a stand, a nice little Decepticon logo, so that can always be used for something. Don't think I'll quite stick it on my van. I've got proper stickers on my van with the logo, so I'll find somewhere to put it, I'm sure. Right, next bits. Well, again, sticking with Transformer theme, but sort of like small scale stuff. I managed to find a Robot Heroes Shrapnel, which I'm quite pleased about. Not sure if I've got him or not, so I don't think I have, so glad to get him, because I like getting the G1 characters. And another G1 character I'm very apt with what's happening at the weekend. I finally managed to track myself down a Grimlock, so loving that. I wish they did the other Dinobots. Well, maybe they do, I haven't come across them, but I think they only do Grimlock, which it would be nice if you had the set of 5. Anyway, to the next bits. Now, these ones, again, technically not really Transformers in their own right, but I found a couple more of the Power Core Combiner limbs, a bit weak. I quite like the little car modes. There's just a little sort of car set with the logos on. They're not bad, and obviously they form the arms. I believe both of these do. No other transformer bits to go with it actually in the box what they came with, which was a bit miffed. So somebody else had obviously had the other couple and maybe the main figure they come with, but there is always the case that the kid might have lost those ones and ended up just boot fairing them ones. So don't know. Now the next figure is one that I've actually seen before quite a lot of times, quite often smashed up bits, not been able to find all the bits and put it back together. So I was really pleased to see this guy all complete. And not a line again I go for, but I really do like this, and quite a good little quick change feature on it as well. And I believe colour scheme wise it could go either way, but it's either animated Skywarp or animated Thundercracker. I'm going to go Thundercracker for the colour, but the colour touches on it are more actually Skywarp. So I'll let you decide because you probably know which figure it is, but I'll err on the thing of it being Thundercracker. But it's actually showing a lot more blue on camera than it actually is. It's quite a proper purple. So if you know which one it is, you can let me know. But great little figure from the animated line. Quite nicely detailed. About a sort of commander class sort of size figure. From, let's see the date there, 2007. So yeah, really great. And like I say, I've seen this so many times with bits missing, legs missing, arms missing, because they're all just ball jointed on. So to actually find this guy complete was really great. Quite a nice little posable figure as well for the size. Now from the same size line as that, and actually a proper commander class, I found the Megatron from, I believe, Dark of the Moon. Again in the black truck version rather than it being sort of a browny tan colour like the larger one. But he did have both of his weapons with him, so that's nice as well. So not a bad little figure. Doesn't have like the half head thing going on, if I can let that zoom in, what the large one does. So again, I suppose at that point he repaired himself, but yeah, good little figure nonetheless. I'm not sure if I've got him. I may have, so that might be a figure that I would get rid of at some point. But I have a feeling I haven't. The other one I got didn't have the weapons, so it could be the case that I'll keep that. Now, next one. Now this is where somebody else. I haven't had a chance to look these up. Well, I've been busy doing stuff. I'm pretty sure I know who he is, but I'm not sure what I'm missing. Obviously a weapon or an accessory of some sort. And it's from Beast Machines, Optimus Primal. Now, Beast Machines was never my favourite line. It's not a bad little figure, nonetheless. I still think it's quite good. Obviously it's the monkey bot of the series, but not great. Though I do like the translucent plastic, I think that's quite nice. But the bit he's missing is on his hip there, where you've got a peg on his hip. So something else would sort of peg in and probably look like it does on that side with the gold part. So, like I say, it's probably a little handheld gun or something that folds out. But it would be nice to try and find the accessory for that at some point. But I've transformed him into robot mode after a bit of mucking about with no instructions. But yeah, all in all, not in bad nick. Needs a bit of a clean, a bit mucky. Doesn't show up on camera, but he's obviously been well played with. But quite solid figure, so he's survived it alright. Now getting on to the bigger bits. Now, first of all, we go for the Prime figure. Now, for the life of me, I've forgotten what this line was called. I'm thinking activators, but it's not activators. Oh, somebody will put it up, I'm sure. hate it when that happens. When I come to do a film, I've looked at some of these things up and I think, oh yeah, that's what it's called, and I should write it down, but I don't, and then I go blank. I'll probably remember about 10 seconds after I push to actually upload this, but there you go. Yeah, I found a Bumblebee, but it's the old, if I can get it to work, the old Gatling gun shoulder job. Now I know my nephew got the Prime from this sort of line when they came out. Completely out of scale with all the other Prime figures. I quite like the gimmick. The actual car mode isn't too bad, although the plastic wheels are a bit cheap on it. But actual kibble wise, it's only a bit sort of G1-y on the back there with the doors and the back of the car. So it's not too bad actually. Sort of, you know, I can live with it as a figure. You know, I'm not a big fan of Bumblebee, but it's not bad. And I think he cost me something like £1, which is ridiculous because I know it was about a £25 figure. He hasn't got his small silver gun. I'd looked up to see if there was anything else because he looks like he holds on about a 5mm peg, a little gun or something. So it's a little silver gun missing, but it doesn't really matter. He's got two great big cannons on his shoulders. But yeah, all in all, not a bad figure. Could do with some more paint apps and that on it. A little bit more picking out bits of silver would have been quite nice on him. The same goes with the wheels. If they'd have done the actual alloy part in silver would have been nice. Or even where it's supposed to represent a wheel on his foot, if they'd have picked that out in black and silver to liven it up. Maybe something I'll do at a later date just to make it look a little bit sort of better and that, you know. But all in all, not bad. So I was quite pleased finding that. And at first I thought it was just one of the again, trying to think of the name of it. That might be activated. It's where you get the actual, just the car mode, what turns into like the battle mode. And because it was in actual car mode, so whether he's never been transformed or not, I'm not sure, but it was sat there just in its car mode, and I thought, oh, it's just one of them, you press it, a few guns pop out. Not really bothered by that line. And I picked it up and turned it over, just mulling it over, and noticed, oh yeah, it's got all the robot kibble underneath. So I thought, oh, I'll have that then. And this is a weird story, because that sort of like kept my attention a little bit longer, and I'd stayed at the stall that bit longer than I would have just passed by if I hadn't picked him up. In a little see-through bag with pink edging. Why? I don't know, but they'd used it to put some other parts in. Now, one of the parts you've already seen was the little Megatron, the Commander class one. But in amongst there as well, and it was sort of hidden, and I'll show you why it was sort of hidden. Because in amongst, in the bag, and blocking the view of most of what was in the bag, was just the paperwork. And it's paperwork instructions, both for Megatron, but also for this guy, the movie line Superion figure. And believe it or not, apart from the little head guns, like, if I can bring that in to show you, that this guy's got on his head, just fit on like a visor, the only part missing is the same thing but on this guy. So a little light grey sort of visor part for him. That's the only bit missing from this. And I got that as well, obviously, from the seller. But they were all in bits. I took a real gamble on it because this little clear plastic bag was just full of parts. Limbs off, arms, legs, you name it, it was in bits. All of the actual combining parts and the weapons were again all in there loose. Silver bolts, parts, assuming they kept the same names. Again, he was in bits as well, so I had to put him together. So it was quite a challenge to put back. It's handy the fact that the instructions were still there, let's put it that way. But yeah, so I got that, but in amongst the bag, although I've chucked them into a box, is virtually another whole set minus a few of the weapons. The odd figure's missing the odd limb, but there's nearly 2 whole sets of Superion in this bag. So as you can imagine, I was rather chuffed because I only gave a couple of quid for that, and I know for a fact, I've had a quick look on eBay and that, and I saw a seller selling a complete one loose for about 40 quid, so really pleased to pick that up. Not the greatest combiner, I'll be honest. With some of the kibble on him and the fact that he's got no more articulation, I sort of prefer a G1 over that. But he's quite nice, you know, he'll display nice enough. I may keep the second set as a set of like ones to display in their separate sort of robot modes or jet modes, but I'll see. I'll think about that one, or I might pass it on at some point. It depends on the room I've got when I actually get my displays sorted out. Now the last bit that I picked up is a mishmash. Now I'm going to do the 2 smaller bits last, and they are only small, but they're G1, so I'll save them for best. But I picked up in a box, and you can probably see this guy's been standing here all this time while I've been talking anyway. Oh, he's decided to fall apart. Again, quite apt with what's happening at the weekend, but I found the 3D puzzle set of Optimus Prime, now Movie Prime. This is alright, it's quite good as a little display item. I might well stick them out on the shelf. But also inside the box you get a Megatron as well. They're from, I'm assuming, with the robot mode, it must be Revenge of the Fallen, because it's not his truck mode from Dark of the Moon. But they're not too bad. I mean, they're not, you know, they're kiddified, there ain't a lot to them, they only slot together bits of cardboard. But it's like a 3D jigsaw. And I thought, well, little display items. It makes up for the fact that I can't nick that giant Dinobot from the View Cinema, which I've seen. Oh, I'd love to get that, but it wouldn't actually fit in this room, so I'd be a bit stuck for where I'd have to put it. It'd have to go in the garden, so that wouldn't work. Never mind. I wonder if anyone will actually end up nicking one of them. It would be funny to see. Can you imagine sort of like a few people running up the road with a giant cardboard Dinobot, but yeah, might get a few funny looks. But yeah, they sort of make up for the fact that they haven't brought out something similar for the actual new film. It would be quite nice actually to have a similar thing to that, but as the actual Dinobot, it would be quite nice. If Hasbro are listening, probably not. Anyway, last bits. Being that it's G1, I thought I'd save it till last. I found Micromaster Tote. Lovely little Micromaster. I have got him probably more than once over. But it's always nice having some extra ones. I might even do some repaints where I get some extra ones of these guys, because if I do ever get to display me Micromaster bases and do a little Micromaster city, it'd be quite nice to actually have it absolutely smothered in Micromasters, and if I do manage to do any repaints on some of them, it add a bit of variety to it rather than just repeats of the same figures all over the place. But anyway, the last bit is something I've been looking for a long time. I actually managed to pick up, and it did need a clean up. It was quite mucky. I actually found G1 Superion's ramp. So this is something that I've been wanting to get. Grand total price, a little bit of postage, 99p. Yeah, that completes my Superion, so absolutely chuffed to get that. Still got a peg on the back, which, strangely enough, now this is the odd thing. Now I'm pretty sure this is the original thing. I'm not sort of saying it's anything from a reissue or anything. Everything looks correct. Superion's has got a peg. I'm pretty sure none of the others did. Now I have a feeling that you can sort of peg this onto Superion or use it as a shield or something like that. I'm offhand, I'm pretty sure that Bruticus's one doesn't have that feature. So that's something I'll have to look at when I finally get everything unpacked one day. That's something I really do want to check, because I mean, obviously, you know, my Bruticus I got Onslaught myself brand new in its box, so I know everything's genuine in that. So I find it a little bit strange that they did a feature where they put a peg on the back of Superions, but they didn't do it for Bruticus, because it would kind of make sense that each got a shield. See, with Motormaster, the ramp was built in to his base mode, so it didn't apply to them at all. And Defensor, again, didn't have a ramp. Had sort of like bits sort of flapped down from his chest to form almost like an operating table for his base mode. So yeah, it's something I'll be really sort of keen to, when I finally get everything unpacked and get these guys out to display. That's something I really want to do. And again, this will now help because I can actually finally do a review of my aerial bots, because now I've got the ramp to show you his base mode. But yeah, so that's the final bit for me for this week. Getting more and more excited as the week goes on. This is being filmed on Tuesday, early morning, because on Saturday I'm going to see Age of Extinction with Tony Norris. I say Matt as well, so because obviously first name turns. Ben Watson, who you also know, of course, as Waspshot 23, and Robert Turner. Now this is the thing, am I going to get his YouTube name right? Overlord Toy Reviews? I think it is. That feels terrible, the fact now have I got the right one? You tell me off if I'm not. I'm pretty sure it is, yeah. Overlord Toy Reviews. I'm thinking of a different, or unless I'm mixing up two names, because there's two guys. I think I might be mixing up the names, but Robert knows who I mean anyway. But I'll be seeing them on Saturday and going to see the film. Got the tickets ready. Don't worry, they're still safe. We're going in the evening. I thought that would be the most sensible option. There was a 1 minute past 12, like Friday night, early Saturday morning sort of thing, for the real die-hard fans, and I did think, well, should we go for that one? And I thought, no, it might be a bit inconvenient for some people to get to, and also if we all were falling asleep of an evening while we're watching it, kind of takes away the actual sort of like enjoyment of going to the cinema. Plus also the fact they're going to probably go out and get something to eat afterwards as well, so we can have a good chinwag. Hopefully, I'll say this now, nod nod wink wink, maybe Matt should bring his camera, not to copy the film, Matt, we don't want no copyright infringement problems or you getting chucked out of the cinema, but maybe to get some sort of shots or a bit of film of us meeting up and having a bit of a chinwag. That would be quite nice, because it's actually 4 of us in the community actually sort of meeting up, a bit like we did at Sci-Fi by the Sea, but it might give us a bit of a chance to actually sort of like pose with a giant Dinobot if it's still there, or we could combine our forces and steal it. Or could we? Anyway, if Matt distracts them by singing, we could just saunter out slowly. Nobody will notice, trust me. Anyway, I shall see you again for another haul vid probably. I'd love to do a review, I really should do one. I'll have to think if I can get something and do a review, rather than something I've just picked up, which is a bit lame, because I'm only reviewing something I've only just found. There's a couple of things I could probably get to. It would be nice to do a review again. I'm in a bit of that state. There's stuff I'd love to get out and do reviews of, and unfortunately it's all under, I'll show you with the camera, it's still under this mountain of toys. Look at the toys, there's tons of them, I can't get to half of them. I'd love to be able to get in amongst there, there's stuff I want to review. But it's so higgledy-piggledy. What I'm hoping to do is, once this is all sorted out, I might even actually, rather than even just filming here, I might actually take the camera around and maybe have a little table set up so I can do a proper review with something separate on a table rather than using the flappy part of the computer desk, as I've always done in the past. It might make it a little bit better, a little bit clearer for everyone to see. Plus also you probably get a bit of better backdrop because you'll have all the other bots and that on display as well. But that's obviously something for the future once I've done everything else. But yeah, so I'm hoping, I might do a review. I know Monkey put up a video the other day saying about how he hadn't been on for a while and how you sort of come backwards and forwards to it. I think in some respects the haul vids help me keep going that way, because where I buy stuff, if I don't do it for weeks and weeks, I'm going to have a mountain of stuff to get through and the video gets even longer and longer, especially with me waffling on like I am now. And so in some respects they're keeping me reasonably regular in getting uploads, but yeah, once I've got everything out and displayed that, I can review a bit easier because I've literally got to walk across, pick it off the shelf, sit it down, probably remind myself how it actually transforms myself because I probably hadn't done it for so long, and then I can do a film. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff there, and like Paulie Poo Poo said, it would be nice if I could get some Star Wars stuff done as well. Anyway, thanks for watching and I shall see you again.